Okay, seasoning cast iron pans. So I'm seasoning a Dutch oven, 14-inch, and 2 other pans, and I'm just gonna show you what to do. So use flax oil, the organic refrigerated kind that you find at the health food store, and I'm going to use a silicone glove to hold on to the edge of it so I don't burn myself. And I'm using a lint-free rag. I ordered these. I'm trying these out because the other ones seem to leave a little bit of some marks on it. Anyways, the pan is hot. It's warm to the touch, or very warm. I set the oven at the lowest temperature, that was 170, and then I heated it up, and they've been sitting in there for about an hour or so. Anyways, they're nice and warm. I've got the oven open, so it's still heating, but it's probably not as hot as it was, but it's plenty hot. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and squirt some flax oil on it, and I'm going to fold up my lint-free cloth, and then I'm just going to rub it in. And what we're doing is we're just putting a real thin coat onto it, so I can kind of see that it's wet, and I'm wiping the wetness off, and that's going to soak into the rag. And then we'll put a little bit more on because I want to get some more on the rag. And depending upon what pans you're doing, if it's a vintage old pan, it's probably going to have really smooth surfaces. And the real smooth surface is actually harder to season because you have to put a really fine coat of seasoning on it. And I'm just rubbing this into, and after I wash these lint-free towels, they seem to be doing a lot better. I don't see any remnants of, I also think they shrunk a little bit when I washed and dried them. So my first test of these rags was not as good, and then after I washed and dried them, they shrunk a little bit, and they seem to be doing a lot better. Oh, this is a big pan, and it's coming along very good. I'm really happy with the seasoning on it. You have to kind of watch for any drips that might occur on it, because as they dry, if it dries uneven and has any bubbles, and especially down in the pan, but anywhere up on top, if you get spots on top, if you scrape them, and I use a cleaning scraper thing from Lodge, and because where it sits on the rack in the oven, it can have a little drip from the excess seasoning that you wiped on it. It's kind of heats up and becomes more liquid and runs off.
My friend told me. I can think of many worse than being tickled. So pissed off. Yeah, I don't think I'd enjoy it. So angry. I don't know what my wife would do if I went home and went, babe.
You want to try to put down as thin a coat as possible. In fact, the directions from a website that I saw showed putting down a coat onto it and then taking, they use paper towels, but they put down the paper towel, they put down the coating onto it, and then they dried it off with another paper towel to completely, to have just such a thin coat. And that's what you have to do on the old ones, because they are, hell, drop the damn thing, Ken. This was a problem with this one before, was it had too thick of a drip pattern and that part chipped away. So as I'm re-seasoning this one, I want to make sure that that's smooth, there isn't any bubbles on there. So at first we might break a couple off, but it'll fill up. I'm almost out of flax oil too. But after I start these ones, I'll have 3 hours plus the heat up time before I'll need more flax oil. If you run out, you got plenty of time if you got enough for your coat. And it's not just the inside of the pan, it's the whole damn pan that you want to season, because as you put a nice coat on this, you've got a nice smooth heated enamel. It's like a non-stick surface is what it ends up being, because it's just layer after layer of the flax oil baked on it at 500 degrees. So now, after we put it in, we're going to heat the oven up to 500 degrees, and when it is this one's pretty bad. I gotta clean this one up now or it'll just get worse. So it might make it look ugly at first, but it'll smooth out and be a nice, really good pan. You don't have to worry about it chipping off. That's the thing that happens, is that as it heats up, when it's got bubbles, and then you use it and you bang it around or whatever, tap on it with a spoon or something. It chips off big chunks of the flax oil. And even though these are only at 170, even with the hot pad, they're still stinking hot.
Months ago, my daughter learned to drive, and she rocked out. Look, we rocked out. That was the only time in 7.5 years that I've been in the passenger seat listening to music riding out.
Okay, set the oven to 500 degrees, and then when it gets to 500 degrees and it finishes its preheat and beeps and says it's up to temp, then we'll set the alarm for 1 hour, and after it's cooked for an hour, then we'll shut it off and let it cool for 2 hours, and then we'll pull it out and we'll look at them and see how they're doing.